So Miles had this gig the other night, and both of us were so hungry, but we had no money. So we went to his gig, and lo and behold, they had set up one of those like feed the hungry musician tip jars, and so we ended up with like a wad of money, like $8 whole. What? I know. And there was a pizza place right next door, so it was like an omen. We went, we got pizza, and it was beautiful, but we didn't want to stay in the pizza joint because there was this blonde, drunk, obnoxious girl who was like, I want meat pie, and all her friends were really embarrassed, and it was not the ideal place
Go in the corner
to enjoy your food. So we stepped outside and we found this lovely little stoop, and we sat down, and it was like super West Village-y, and all of a sudden, no, bedbugs. All of a sudden, these two horses come and like park themselves right in front of us because they're at a red light, and it's these cops on horses. And one of them was on his iPhone, and that was just like such a weird image of someone on a phone on a horse, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, it was like just this really, how much more New York could this night get? Because we were like leaning on his violin case.
Drum roll, please.
Well, exactly. All of a sudden, this guy walks by, and he's dragging along this wagon full of pugs, and the pugs are in costume, and he just walks by and just disappears. And we're like, did that just happen? Like,
What were they wearing?
they were like, there was like a fairy and like a clown, and
Oh my God.
but it was like this accumulation of like all of these West Village quirkiness moments. It was a really cool night.
I just want to cry.
Oh no, don't cry.
Adam, quintessential New York story in 3, in 2, in 3, in 2, in 8.
Quintessential New York story. Well, I'm like sort of tempted to find a super romantic example of a New York story, you know, because like, well, no, because that's like when people, I feel like when people think about New York or like the idea of a New York story, it's like, there's like a pretty like common, like, it's like the opening scene of Manhattan, like the Woody Allen, Gershwin blasting, everything's in black and white, like jazz. But there's layers to the whole city, I think, that you can like only really know about if you live here or like have lived here for a significant amount of time. I was thinking about that a lot the other day. So I'm on the A train. Everyone's dead quiet. Everyone's got their headphones in, including me. I'm listening to music. And this guy gets on the train, and I mean, he's asking for money, and people are like sort of dismissive. And so his personality just like enlarged all of a sudden, and he started speaking as if he was giving a speech. And he like looked at everyone in the train directly in the face instead of just like sort of addressing the train. It was like, he was like, you don't have to give me any money, but at least look at me and show me that you respect me, which is like so heavy for 9:30 in the morning. These people like don't know what to do with that level of confrontation, especially because he's pretty much right, you know? So you like see this tension on these people's faces. And then it sort of like starts to turn in a weird way. This woman that was on the subway, like I noticed her when I first got on. Like she clearly had like some kind of facial tic or something. So she was just like twisting her face up. She probably wasn't even listening to what this guy said, but when he like got to her and like looked at her in the face and saw that she was making these faces, he thought that she was making faces at him. And he called this woman out in the middle of the entire train and was like, he said to everybody, like in the booming voice he had been using, he was like, do you know why this woman's twisting her face up at me? Because she hates herself. He was like, she got up today and she had a problem with her own life, and that's why she thinks less of me, which is like such a weird position to be in as a listener, because like I said,
Like,
she
what
wasn't
did he
reacting to
say?
anything he
Yeah.
was saying, and so everyone was just like, oh my God, like we need to sort of just like let this go by like not addressing it at all, including me. Like I had to like put my head against the door a little bit, you know, and like try to not make it obvious because I didn't want to be the next one to get called out. The thing that makes that story, I think, like more New York than any other city is the fact that nobody said anything in response. Like he was like essentially performing this and nobody was responding. And like a lot of what attracts me to New York is the fact that like the range of experience is so much wider than any other city.
Yeah.
And it's like interesting to think about how that affects people and like the way they respond to other people. And in New York, like a lot of people just end up shutting down. A lot of other people talk about moving to the city. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I would recommend it, that anybody live here. Like, I love living here. But 2 years from now, it's not gonna be what you thought it was gonna be. There's gonna, like, things are gonna sort of emerge for you, and it's gonna sort of become a different place.